Throughout history, some people have had numerous contacts with what most cannot see. These aren't just demonic creatures or ghostly specters, but perverse creatures whose appetites transcend evil and seek to take more than just screams from their victims. Witnesses have left writings, books, testimonies, and countless words that try to relate their experiences. Are they true? Only you can judge it accurately. And that's why today we'll present you 7 cases and 7 creatures that have attacked people all over the planet throughout history. Are you ready to meet them? Then it's time to get started. Number 7. Litterk. We begin this tour of the most disturbing creatures by visiting faraway Hungary. In this country, local folklore has countless stories about the existence of a creepy being called Litterk, a strange sexual beast that attaches itself to people. Whenever this creature is mentioned, the local stories begin by mentioning the egg of a black hen, since this supernatural specter can only be born from there. This egg must be kept warm under the armpit of a human or in the fresh manure of a horse. After the incubation process, the strangest things happen. The Litterk emerges from the egg and attaches itself to people in order to become their lovers. Therefore, if the owner is a woman, the paranormal being becomes a man, and the same happens in the opposite case. However, the love of this creature isn't affectionate at all. It's said that this specter, instead of pleasing its lover, focuses on absorbing its victim's blood while deceiving them with sexual affections. Of course, there are other legends surrounding this mysterious specter, but they never have a happy ending. Number 6. Popo Bawa. Can a spirit be capable of creating a mass hysteria that spreads across an entire country? You may think it's impossible, but that's because you've never heard of Popo Bawa, the evil spirit of Pemba Island in Tanzania. Its legend is ancient, but in 1995, this creature became extremely popular and caused a wave of panic in the main urban centers of a country and East Africa. According to local lore, Popo Bawa comes from a Swahili name that translates as Bat Allah and refers to a creature with the appearance of a dark and shadowy bat that roams the main urban areas of Tanzania. However, looks can be deceiving when it comes to this creature. The Popo Bawa is a shapeshifter and can adopt the appearance of animals and humans at will. Thanks to this peculiar characteristic, it's associated with discreet attacks on men, women, and children. These attacks usually occur at night. Popo Bawa takes the form of the relatives and friends of its victims and approaches them without them noticing the danger. Then, it sexually assaults them and, according to reports, sodomizes them. Faced with these facts, the inhabitants of Tanzania decided to set up guards and patrols in their neighborhoods, but the attacks didn't stop. It seems that no one can stop this perverse creature. Number 5. Asmodius. Some consider him the prince of hell, others the demon of lust, and those who attend his satanic rituals consider him the pinnacle of perverse sexual desire. His name is Asmodius, and he's a creature that few would wish to meet. Generally, this creature is the ultimate invocation of perversion and jealousy. His sexual appetite is sadistic, and the surviving accounts of him tell lurid stories, especially those that relate him to women. For Asmodius, the greatest pleasure lies in depriving women of sex. In most texts, he is blamed for the murder of the suitors of certain maidens or the isolation of women so that they cannot have sex with anyone but him. This has caused some legends and stories to try to point to Asmodius as a pleasant and idealized demon for women, who actively try to invoke him to come to their bedrooms. However, this perverse demon isn't usually characterized as being particularly kind or pleasurable. His sadistic desires could end in the death of his lover and a traumatic experience for those who survive. Number 4. Tokulosi. Africa is a region full of ancient traditions that have survived the passage of time. Many of its rituals respond to ancient shrines and traditions, and the same applies to some of its creatures. Such is the case of Tokulosi, a perverse creature that enjoys attacking humans while they sleep. According to the oral history of this continent, the Tokulosi is an invasive being that frequents people's homes looking for a victim to satisfy its voracious sexual appetites. Generally, this creature is described as a small being that doesn't exceed 1 meter in height, is practically naked, and has a virile member hanging from its shoulder. Of course, its sexual hunger consumes it, especially on nights of the full moon, which is Tokulosi's favorite time to sneak into homes and subdue its unfortunate prey. Number 3. Pontianak. Is there a worse harbinger of calamity than living in a city named after one of Indonesia's darkest monsters? Probably not, but this is the bad luck that befalls more than 500,000 inhabitants of the city of Pontianak, the capital of West Kalimantan. Indeed, Pontianak is named after a creature that devours manly limbs. According to legend, the founder of this mysterious city saw this beast with his own eyes, a creature that was born out of vices and perversion. The Pontianak usually uses seduction and male desires to trap its victims. It usually takes the form of beautiful ladies dressed in white with hair as dark as night. It usually appears at night on the main roads and those leading out of the city. On some occasions, this creature asks for help from travelers. On others, it pretends to be wounded, but on all occasions, the result is the same. When men stop to help it, it quickly transforms into a monstrous creature that strikes, attacks, and rips up everything in its path. Number 2. Chuayels. You're probably familiar with the figure of Succubi, the famous demonic creatures that take the form of a woman to have sex with men. However, in India, there is a succubus that's somewhat unusual. Its name is Chuayel, and it's known for its peculiar way of murdering its victims. Usually, the Chuayel conquers its prey thanks to its stunning female form. Many have described her as the woman of their dreams or the most angelic maiden of the world. However, innocence quickly turns into action, and in the midst of carnal acts, this succubus is capable of sucking the life out of her victims through fellatio. For this succubus, there's no room for pain or human suffering. Its only goal is to obtain pleasure and carnal desire. The problem is that the price for enjoying a night of passion with this succubus is life itself. Number 1. Enchanted. One of the most terrifying and perverse figures can be found in the eternal land of Samba, Brazil. Its name doesn't seem threatening. They call it Enchanted, and its home is the rivers, where, according to tradition, underwater kingdoms are hidden, places where neither pain nor death exist. I'm sure you're wondering that if this creature lives in paradise, why does it emerge on Earth and takes the form of humans? The answer is very simple: carnal desires. Enchanted longs for pleasure of the flesh and sin. It's its undoing and its punishment, since it cannot satisfy such longings in the paradise it inhabits. Therefore, in its human form, Enchanted is a seductive, attractive, and perverse person. It usually wears a hat to cover the nostril on the crown of its head and has a limited time to go back to its original body, which has been described as that of a bird and a dolphin. The most dangerous thing about this strange spirit is its facility to fall in love with its lovers, becoming so infatuated that it's capable of kidnapping them and taking them to that supposed paradise from which no one has ever managed to return. Zone 0. In the Philippines, there's a perverse creature thirsty for carnal pleasures that's cataloged as one of the most strange beings on the planet. Its name is Elolan, and local traditions assure that it belongs to a strange race of small deformed creatures, half human and with certain bird-like features. The origin of these stories comes from the Itnek ethnic group, who have witnessed all kinds of disturbing events related to this mysterious creature over the centuries. Among them, one of the most perverse is the way these strange beings reproduce. It's believed that their main reproduction method is through the menstrual blood of women. This is why they covet it and search for it with an inordinate appetite, so they even visit women's homes during the night in order to get it. Of course, they also have other methods, such as the use of aborted fetuses and human placentas, where they can incubate their perverse offspring. Due to this peculiar sexual mania, legends point them out as bloody and perverted demons who are capable of going to the ultimate extreme in order to satisfy their needs and desires. Like all the previous stories, the perverse demons seem to consider humans as an ideal source to satiate their appetites, which are many and really varied. However, the darkness hides many other terrifying creatures that, far from craving human sexuality, they seek more bloodthirsty and violent pleasures. If you feel brave enough to find out what they're all about, you'd better join us in the following videos and get ready to know what is hiding in the darkness.